Hey everyone, thank you for downloading, thank you for streaming, thank you for listening, thank you for kind of watching if you're doing it on YouTube. Thank you for hearing another episode of the Retro Gamers. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
What is happening, Ant? What is going on? How was your week?
So many things going on, and none of them video game related, unfortunately.
That's all right. Well, that's life.
Yeah, I know. I've been meaning to fix that.
We only got paid for this.
Well, maybe. Maybe one day. But not right now. Right now, all we're doing is hanging out and talking old games because we're old.
That's it. There you go.
There you go.
You're
our new tagline.
Yeah, honestly. We're old. Deal with it. You're getting ready to go back overseas for a little while.
Yes, and for an extended period of time.
Yeah, you're going for a trip, man.
Yeah, I will be gone for 3 weeks. I'm going to Japan first for work-related stuff, and then I'm following up that trip with a trip to Italy for a vacation.
Hey, vacation? What the hell is that?
I am taking a vacation.
It's about time.
I know. So, and I'm going straight from Japan. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you got to meet people there.
Yes.
How is that going to work?
Oh, I have no idea. Well, no. I planned it out perfectly. I actually get in the night before they do.
Oh, okay, good.
So then I'm already there.
All right, good.
They just have to show up.
Excellent.
And if they don't show up, I don't care. I'm moving on.
You're already there.
Yeah, I'm already there, so I'm just off and running, and, I'll be performing at the Coliseum.
Cool, the old one. Nice.
Yes, the original.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. All right, cool. It's your first trip to Italy?
Yeah, it's going to be my first trip over there, which will be nice.
Yeah.
My second trip to Europe.
Where'd you go first? Oh, yeah.
Ireland.
Yeah,
Ireland
I forget they're in Europe.
And I'm doing a tour, so it's brainless. They just point and I go there.
Good.
It's just what I needed. Of course, I will do a detour if I should happen to wander in front of a video game store.
I can't imagine Italy has them. Not like Japan. I don't know. Just Italy to me is very, very old. Old meaning like not rustic. Just old school. Just old.
Well, okay. So let's expand your mind a little bit.
Like pre-gaming.
Yes, I understand that. But you do realize that they make European-specific consoles and games, right?
Yeah, but not. I'm just saying. You always see Europe. You see that Tuscany Europe.
Right, but Italy is part of Europe.
I know.
Yeah, so they have video games.
I'm not saying they don't have video games. I'm just saying I don't envision a video game. So I don't think the culture over there, to me, seems like one that would, enjoy that type of thing or really, go their way. I'm sure there's people over there that do.
Yes. Well, you know what? I mean, I'm sure they have one between the toga house and the bathhouse. So, I'll just pick up some games there. Maybe, after I get my chariot and horse. Instead of super potato, it's like super cannoli or something over there. Yeah, that sounds just about right. Not at all racist.
What? Nice. It's not racist at all. I don't think Italy is a race.
Oh boy.
But enjoy the trip. It's going to be. It sounds like it's going to be a fun time.
I will enjoy it, and
good.
And needless to say, I wish you the best of luck without me. So I will not be on the next 3 episodes of the Retro Gamers.
It's going to be tough. I'm going to be steering the ship here, all by my lonesome.
Yeah, I know, and quite frankly, I'm nervous because we're so close to episode 100.
Yes.
And now I'm going to be missing 3 episodes. I'm worried that we will not get to episode 100 now because everything's going to fall apart while I'm gone.
Well, what's great about being a podcaster is technically you can't be canceled. So no matter what.
That's very true. But there may be a mass exodus during those 3 weeks.
Well, it depends on who I have hosting with me. But will.
It's very true.
I will have 3 guests. Well, not 3. It'll be a couple times. It'll be more than one person. But each episode will have guest host or hosts. So I'll keep it under wraps until the episodes air. Plus, not only that, I got to figure out who's going to be for what day. So that's going to be fun, especially next week being Memorial Day weekend. So I got to see who wants to take time out of their Memorial schedule to do that.
Well, I'd feel sorry for you about Memorial Weekend, but I have to work through it, so I don't feel so bad.
I used to have to as well, so
Yes, that's true.
Not anymore.
But
Thank God.
now it's my turn.
Yes.
To do it. But yeah, no. But yeah, there will be a replacement for me every week. Specifically to get the Virtual Boy insults in and to keep Larry in check.
Well, I know one host who will definitely make sure the Virtual Boy is.
I have a feeling that he's actually working on a list.
A list of what?
Oh, there are so many Virtual Boy jokes.
Oh man!
Just the fact that it exists is a joke in and of itself. So
I have to save him last.
You can. Well, just be happy that the three of us aren't on the same podcast because then it would just be a disaster.
Yeah. We will get there when we get there, folks.
That is true.
And, also, speaking of we'll get there when we'll get there, all joking aside, we are coming up on, as Anthony said, episode 100. It's a monumental thing. We kind of thought we did it big for 50. We're going to have to do something big for 100.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you think we can get like 100 like people dressed up as Lara Croft in Tomb Raider? I mean, what do you think?
That would be amazing.
There you go. All right, so you get started on that while I'm gone.
Do we technically need like maybe 50 people?
No, 100.
Okay.
Or 50 and a big mirror.
There you go, like in a funhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Krusty's Funhouse.
Not the weird ones that distort everybody.
Oh, okay. Well, the ones like with evil clowns in them.
Yeah, no, nothing with clowns.
So 100, episode 100 is coming up, and we got, we definitely, this show has absolutely evolved, with how it started, kind of just two guys just getting on a mic and not knowing what they're doing, to now episode 92 where it's two guys on a mic kind of sort of knowing what they're doing. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to 100 because I'm expecting the sky to part and all of this wisdom to like just drop in my head, so we can keep going. Yeah, the angelic music and all that stuff too. But I have a feeling it's just going to be what we're always doing, which is just we're just humming along.
Totally. Top 100 moments on the Retro Gamers.
Oh God, I won't know. I not only will I not take part in that episode, I wouldn't even listen to it.
But we'll get.
How about the top 100 Virtual Boy insults?
I was in my head. I was thinking that, but I opted not to say it.
No. See now it's worth listening to.
Now get your ears open, folks. That's probably when we get accepted to Spotify.
Yeah, exactly. Spotify will be like, "Ooh, we like this."
So episode 100.
Hashtag VB sucks.
When is 100? Actually, episode 100 is scheduled for what? July 17th.
July 17th. So we're about like 8 weeks away.
Yeah, unless we do something stupid and it gets delayed by a week.
We're not going to do it. Well, you know what?
Well, it could be delayed by a week.
I was just going to say it'll probably be delayed by a week because we have our E3 special coming up.
We do. We have, technically, we would have already done 100 episodes, but we have, for those long listeners, we have about 2 or 3 what we like to call special editions, where we go away from the retro games and talk about, because we're gamers. Me and Anthony are gamers still. We talk E3. I think we talked the Nintendo Switch release.
Yep.
But E3 is usually the one to go with. And so most likely the July 17th will be delayed by a week. But nevertheless, 100 is on its way. So
yes, it is. Batten down the hatches.
With 100, one of the things we could do, I thought about, is just break out all the systems that we have and just play a little bit of everything. But as we get older, me and you, things are slowly breaking down as time goes on. Me a lot more than you. But hardware-wise, from what you were telling me the last couple of days, Ant, you're running into some issues.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm falling apart here, and I am not happy. I am definitely not happy at all. Because systems were in storage for a long time, and I decided to let them out, and let them out, give them their freedom, but hook them up.
Roam at your
yeah, exactly. Put them
right on a wire.
Put their shackles on.
There you go.
And I haven't, and a lot of them I haven't really played for a long time. So, so my entertainment center looks really pretty. So, that being relative to if you like video games or not. But, I have all my systems hooked up. And then, as I've been live streaming, I've been trying to mix it up. Like, granted, because we always talk about how Nintendo heavy we are. But I have so many other systems that are not Nintendo. So I like to change things up. And one of my favorite systems, and I can't understand why it's one of my favorite systems, but I have a certain affection towards the Sega CD. Okay. There's something about it that I just always enjoyed. Sonic CD is one of my favorite games. The WWF Rage in a Cage game I thought was awesome.
Love that
it was
game.
The first game that actually had full motion video in it. Yep. Super cool. Night Trap, of course, is a cult classic.
Night Trap.
Yeah, I mean, and then the list goes on for me, even though the rest of the games are just awful. But
Sewer Shark.
Not all of them.
Can't go wrong with Sewer Shark.
I liked Sewer Shark. I even liked the Power Rangers game that was on the Sega CD.
6-9er.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and I was really good at that game, but I would always screw it up when I had to. I don't know if it was a refuel thing or there's a point in the game where you have to do something specific, and I always missed it. I think I only got it once
because I was never able to pull that off.
Yeah, in Sewer Shark and Top Gun, I just couldn't do it either way.
Top Gun, oh man,
Top Gun was the other game. It's like I honestly don't think there was a strategy to refueling in that game. I just think it would randomly bless you with refueling or not. And
which was tougher, refueling in Top Gun or landing in Top Gun?
Refueling for sure, because I could land in Top Gun.
Okay.
Granted, I didn't land correctly all the time, but I could land. Refuel, I'm not kidding you. I maybe saw my plane refuel twice the whole time I had that game.
Sweet.
Just impossible. So much so that I never played the sequel. And since the movie didn't get the sequel and doesn't deserve one, the video game didn't deserve one.
I thought they were making a sequel to Top Gun.
Shh.
I just saw a trailer for Fallout.
When you say it out loud, people hear it, and then it happens.
My bad. Spaceballs
please
2.
Goose comes back to life and, goes after Maverick.
That'd be awesome.
Well, I mean, because what's his name? I don't think Iceman can fit in a cockpit anymore.
Poor Batman.
Change that B to an F. All right, so I wanted yesterday. I was home and I'm like, you know what? Let me do a little streaming because we don't, between you and me, we stream very randomly.
Yeah.
And I like to stream on our Facebook page when we can.
Mm-hmm.
So I hooked up my Sega CD with the intention. So my Sega CD was hooked up. So, pop in a game, ready to go, was going to do some Sonic. I get my Sega CD logo up on my screen and I'm very excited and I'm, 12 years old again or 13, whatever I was. And then it automatically goes to the CD player.
Oh, like music?
Yeah, so it it pops up with the Sega CD logo, says press start to begin, and I press start, and it goes to the CD player. And I'm like, that's weird. And then I open the CD case, and I look at the CD, make sure it's clean, no scratches, put it back in, still no game, switch to another game, still no game, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Turns out that the CDs aren't spinning anymore.
Oh no!
So it's not if it doesn't spin, it can't read it.
Oh man!
So I did some research online on how to fix it. I saw how somebody fixed it. I can't do that. So
a lot of soldering.
Yeah, so it's either going to go to a shop. Mm-hmm. Or it's going to go goodbye.
Oh,
or on eBay for parts.
This is true.
I'll put it up on eBay for parts and then get a replacement.
Yep.
And you know what? I get it. These systems are old. I mean, my Sega CD is 25 years old. I bought it when it first came out, brand new.
Wasn't Sega CD the system that you beat the Wiz with? Remember, Nobody Beats the Wiz? Was it?
Yeah. Didn't I? Yeah, there was one system that I did do that with, and it may have been the Sega CD.
We have to talk about that on episode 100. I think it was Sega CD.
Yeah, that's a good story for episode 100. Provided I remember it.
Yeah, that's there was a lot of detail with that day too.
Yeah,
And nothing bad. Nothing illegal.
No, it wasn't. It was nothing illegal. It's just I found a loophole.
Yeah, that's really what it was.
I found a loophole, and it worked out. And
yeah, it was like the first one just didn't work.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So anyway, we'll say that
people. Yeah, people are like, what the hell is the Whiz?
Very true. The Whiz is what it was like a Best Buy from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
That's basically what the Whiz was. Yep.
The Whiz was the Whiz was.
Yep. So I can live with the fact that I've lost one of my retro systems and I have to replace it because it's 25 years old. I get it. I'll buy a new one.
Especially on a system like the Sega CD, because the NES, the SNES, the Genesis, they don't have technically moving parts.
Right.
Sega CD had a moving part, so you can understand that's going to break down at some point.
Yeah, exactly. So, and what I always find ironic about these systems is like, we talk about it, we joke about it, like, the Xbox 360 came out and you got the Red Ring of Death, and then Sony had some issues with their systems and whatnot. And these are brand new systems. I mean, I'm talking about a system that, lasted maybe 25 years before it decided to crap out. I mean, I think that's a really good shelf life for a system.
You cannot complain whatsoever about that.
No. So, but moving on to, so my Sega CD didn't work, so I was going to play something else. So I was like, oh, you know what? I thought of playing Tomb Raider because, we had talked about last week how Tomb Raider was inducted into the 2018 World Video Game Hall of Fame. So I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I'll play some Tomb Raider, because it's timely. So I took Tomb Raider out and I popped it in my PS2 because for those of you who do not know, PlayStation 2 is fully backwards compatible. So all PlayStation 1 games play in a PlayStation 2, which is awesome.
Yeah, yep.
Because if you bought a PlayStation 2, you no longer needed your PlayStation 1.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I pop Tomb Raider into my PlayStation 2. First thing that happens is that the door opens on my PS2. Now I have the regular version, not the Slim, because they had two versions.
Oh God, you still have that one?
I have the original.
Good Lord. Okay.
Yeah. So I have the original PS2. And so the door opens, and then as soon as the door opens, first off, I forgot I left Kingdom Hearts in there.
Oh man, how long could that have been in there?
Probably a year, because I was playing it last year.
Oh, okay.
But Kingdom Hearts was sitting in there, and then like when I went to go pull Kingdom Hearts out, the door shut by itself again.
Ooh.
And I'm like, oh, I was like, that's weird.
Ooh, yeah.
I was like, and then I opened it again. And then I went to go grab it, and it shut again. So it's like it wouldn't let me take the disc out.
I hope there's not something in there pulling it back.
Yeah, I have like gnomes.
Yeah, sure, gnomes.
Gnomes, that's what it is. So then the third time though, it stayed. The tray stayed out. So pulled out Kingdom Hearts, drop in Tomb Raider, closed the door, and then all of a sudden I hear this really loud noise.
Oh no!
And it almost sounded like it was mangling my disc.
Really?
So I very quickly pull Tomb Raider out, and I'm like, "Oh crap!" I was like, and I look at it, and it's fine. I was like, but then I put it back in. I put it back in again. Same thing happens. This noise is happening, and it won't play the disc.
Oh man.
So I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's two systems in two. Like I'm 2 for 2 in crapped out systems.
Ugh.
So, aside from the fact that I feel like I'm a Virtual Boy owner now because my systems are crap.
They're crapping out.
Yes, they're crapping out. So I have to replace my Sega CD. I have to replace my Sega CD. I have to replace my PlayStation 2.
All right. Again, it's how old was PlayStation 2? It's due. So
that one's close.
Especially that one.
What? Yeah, that one's probably like 16 years old. So it is what it is. So then I hooked up my PlayStation 1 because I kept my PlayStation 1.
Very good.
Worked fine. So I did some I streamed some Tomb Raider. I streamed some the Buster Groove 1 and 2.
Yes.
The Japanese import, which I forgot how fun those games are.
They were the precursor to Dance Dance Revolution and all them.
Exactly. And, the songs were catchy and fun. The only drawback to playing on my old systems is like I have them all hooked up through AV, but you can see all these diagonal lines going through the TV screen. That old school look.
Yeah.
And, I looked online and they say like it's a wire that needs replacing. I'm like, I swapped out wires. That didn't seem to do it. So I don't know if that's just a thing with retro gaming on new TVs. Or,
Possible.
Yeah. Or it could just be because everything's hooked up through, one of the switchers. Maybe it's not direct, and that's part of the problem. But it's if anything, it gives it a good retro look.
This is true. This is true. Like with the Nintendo mini systems, you can change the graphic overlay on it, and you can put the CT scans. Good Lord, the CAT scans, of course.
Getting a CAT scan?
Oh, please! I think I need one. You get the scan lines. And that's how I play, with the scan lines, because it just makes it feel like how it used to be.
Yeah, and it looks kind of cool. Like if you look at the Tomb Raider video on our page, like you can see that it's very.
It wasn't bad.
It just looks dated,
yeah,
and I think that's perfectly fine
because it is dated. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally is. So some frustration with my retro gaming, but still, I'm still doing it.
Good.
With or without the lines. I got to figure out. See, now my other concern is also with my Dreamcast because, if you remember correctly, it may not be my Dreamcast, it may be my game. I was streaming Space Channel 5.
Yes, that's right.
A couple months ago, and it got to a level where it wouldn't load the level. Now the game was working up until that point, so I'm just wondering if, the game itself is damaged.
Yeah,
which is entirely possible. So I have a little digging to do there on my Dreamcast, but bottom line is it's like all my CD-based systems are slowly starting to die.
Yeah, they're all going.
And I'll be spending a lot of money replacing them.
And they're all going at once. What the deuce?
Well, it's because I'm starting to play them again.
Yeah, they're like, whoa, wait a minute, we're getting brushed off.
No. They're like, wait, I'm retired.
Yeah, we're done ski.
Exactly. So some just interesting issues, and I'm sure people out there have had similar problems with that. So,
it sounds like problems I have, but usually end up being with like brand new systems, and I end up having to replace them.
Yeah.
Well, at least yours are breaking down. I kind of had that. I've had worse luck. At least you still have the systems. I may have mentioned this once before. I've completely lost an entire system. Like,
lost?
I don't know, because it's not a portable system. My Nintendo Wii, an original Wii, God help me, I have no idea where it is.
Well, how does that happen?
It's been like 2 or 3 years, maybe like 2 years, and it's been driving me up the wall because why would I bring it anywhere? I don't think I loaned it out to anybody.
Wow.
And I still have the stuff for it. So it's not like I could have loaned it out, because I think I still have some of the wires if I was looking at them correctly. So it's just the system. And it bugs me because I really wanted to use it, honestly, more as a GameCube, because it was already hooked up to the TV.
Right.
And it kind of it jacked up the graphics a little bit on the GameCube. Kind of automatically went to that progressive scan mode. But I mean, I'm good as far as Wii games, because the Wii U will play those. Mm-hmm. And I broke out the GameCube anyway, so I'm like, all right, I'm good. But I just an entire system gone. I have no idea. And if it's those same.
Maybe your Virtual Boy killed it.
Can you imagine?
It just got really jealous.
Patent pending, everybody. Patent pending. Ant, you're the writer in Hollywood. Make it a killer movie where one system secretly goes out and starts destroying the other ones.
Oh, man, that's a lot of work.
Do it. I just saw a trailer today for a puppet murder movie. You can do this.
Happy Land Murders.
Happy Time Murders.
Happy Time
Okay,
Murders.
I have to. Just for a minute, I'm going to digress here. I saw Deadpool 2 today. Great movie. First of all, there was about 9 trailers before the movie, probably because I saw the matinee.
Yep.
It was a red band trailer.
Yes, it was.
I've seen it. As much as Deadpool 2 was amazing, I laughed harder at Happy Time Murders than with Deadpool 2. This movie is it really from the people who directed the Muppet movies?
Yep.
It really is the same guy. Okay.
Yeah. And that movie's been in gestation for like 10 years. They've been trying to get this thing made for 10 years.
I feel like I've heard it in the past. I've heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they call
They've been trying to do this for a very long time, and they finally got it.
What do they call that list with all the unsigned scripts or something? The blacklist or something?
Oh, the blacklist. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I lost it when I saw that trailer. So that when it comes out, can't wait. Melissa McCarthy, just comedic genius in my opinion. I love her. She's great.
Yeah. No, she is.
So anyway, where were? Oh yeah. So the same gremlins that keep pulling your PS2 tray back in, probably the same bums that stole my Wii, also I think came over here and took all of my DS games.
Well, I can understand if you lost your DS games because they're small.
No, what happened was, I mean, all DS and 3DS, I should say, because they were all in the same package. I had this thing, I bought. This is why, honestly, as much as we, I buy games, you buy games, I Game On, Super Potato. Honestly, I'm going to be more of a bigger advocate for virtual consoles and downloading games when you can, because I had my DS games in, I bought like a separate case for the games themselves, so I didn't have to have all. I live in a small apartment, and even though the pop vinyls are slowly pushing me out. I had to, I had to ditch the and yes, I know people are going to start freaking out. Oh, but the resale value. I'm not one to resell, honestly. I used to.
Of the pop vinyls?
No, of the games, because I got rid of the cases and everything.
Right.
I don't plan on selling these back. I used to. I don't anymore.
For shame.
That's all right. Again, I'm not gonna sell them. So, but anyway, so I put them in these little clamshell cases. Each one held maybe 15 games, and I had 3 of them, and they were full and gone. Just have no idea where they are, and it's driving me up the wall. And I'm doing everything in my power not to start downloading the games virtually, which I can for some of them, because then that means I got to start them over and stuff. And when I realized I lost those games, I had my Switch games also in a little case. I threw them all back in their original cases, kept them in there. But then I, in fear now of losing these, I'm just going straight digital. I had Street Fighter 30th Anniversary. See, that reminds me of the Happy Time Murders. Just Snow's tail.
Snow's tail.
You got to see this. And one day we'll go video, and and Anthony can get extra royalties for the cats.
That's right. My cats demand equal pay.
Hell no, we won't go. I had pre-ordered Street Fighter 30th Anniversary for Switch on Amazon, because you get 20% off when you pre-order. You know what? I canceled that, and for full price, I just pre-ordered it digitally, because that means it just goes straight to my Switch, and I'm not going to lose the cart.
So you'd rather spend the extra money just to download the digital copy?
Honestly, that, yes, and also I'm lazy and I don't want to get up to keep switching the games around. I kind of wish I started downloading all of them to begin with, but it is what it is.
Oh, Larry.
I don't.
No, everybody has their preferences. I mean, for my Switch, I don't mind. I prefer the actual hard copies because I'm just an old school gamer that way. It's I want the physical disc. Also, I play my Switch more now when I travel than anything else, so it's easy for me to swap them out on a plane.
I find funny, because that I would feel would even be a bigger reason to download games more than buy them, because you don't have to worry about. That's just something, I know they're little, but it's just something extra you got to carry, and when all you have to do is just bring the Switch, and all your games are already preloaded on it. Again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's bad. I would think that's a better reason.
But it depends on the carrying case you buy. My carrying case for the Switch has slots to put the games in.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're right there.
I hear you. I just find that funny, that traveling, you would actually rather have them. But again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that you're wrong.
All right, Larry, it is time for this week's Cheat of the Week.
All right.
And I chose this game specifically because it was recently in the news a couple of weeks ago, in the movie news, that I don't know if you heard, but we are getting a third Bill and Ted movie.
Yes, I cannot wait. Excellent.
Yes. Very, very excited about that. I love the first two movies. I thought they were awesome.
That bunny still haunts me to my day.
Yes, it still haunts me as well. But then Donnie Darko's bunny took that over. So I thought I would revisit the very obnoxiously annoying Bill and Ted's Excellent Video Game Adventure for the original NES.
That was a rough one.
Now, granted, there have been like 4 or 5 Bill and Ted games over time. There's one on Game Boy.
I knew that.
There's one on Atari Lynx. There's one on PC, like Amiga and Commodore 64.
Really?
Yeah. So they got themselves a few games. Now, the NES version was pretty difficult to work through because part of the game involved you basically jumping into things and crashing in order to find stuff, which was absolutely obnoxious.
Yep.
So I thought, on the heels of Bill and Ted announcing their new movie, and in the hopes that we actually get the Bill and Ted video game we deserve on a new system, because I honestly think it would be hysterical to have a game.
Oh, absolutely.
It would be a blast if they do it right. And very Doctor Who-like, too, because I would love to see a Doctor Who game on a current system with the TARDIS going to different places.
What? How do we get to Doctor Who?
I don't know. I'm all over the place. Anyway, in the original Bill and Ted's Excellent Video Game Adventure, some of the major historical figures have been displaced in time, and you have to go find them and lure them back to the time period they belong in. And you do that by putting in a phone number. Mm-hmm. So... and there are 6 levels in the game. Once you beat level 6, you win. Mm-hmm. However, it's really, really hard to get through these levels because of the gameplay itself. So if you want to just jump to the end and go to level 6, on the start screen, when it's time to dial in the phone number, this is the number that you dial. 555-5864.
Good.
Again, that's 555-5864. And if you put that in, you will automatically go to level 6. So then you only have to torture yourself through one level to beat the game. And that is this week's Cheat of the Week.
San Dimas High School football rules. All right. So there's been some, the last couple of episodes, we've been doing some news, retro news, which has been really good, Ed. You've been pulling out some great stories.
Thank you.
No problem. Kudos.
I deserve it.
They're big news. I would say big news as the fact that whatever year it is, when a system stops being manufactured, that's kind of a big thing because that's the company saying, all right, we're done, let's move on. And it was recently announced that the PlayStation Vita has finally, production has stopped on systems. Now, they've stopped with games a couple of years ago, but now they're done making the system. Mm-hmm. And of course, whenever I hear, and I'm sure it's the same thing with you, Ann, at least at first, before you kind of realize what the system is and everything, when you hear that a system is done production, the first thing that comes into our minds, at least the last 92 weeks, has been, is it now considered retro? Is it old enough to be considered retro? And then that kind of snowballed into, I think what we're about to get into.
So, and it's a debate we have all the time because we're always trying to decide, like when we do research for our show and we're coming up with topics and whatnot, we are always constantly discussing as time goes by. It's like, at what point do we draw a line and say, okay, this is now crossed over into retro area? Because there's no definitive, time frame around this. Is it 10 years? Is it 15 years? Is it 5 years? I mean, it's really hard to gauge.
It all depends. Each what's the word I'm looking for? Not genre, but like music. To music, usually like 20 years is considered. When a song hits 20 years, and you hear it on the classic radio station. Movies maybe a little bit longer as far as classic. So depending on the thing. The year may change, may be different.
True. And by the way, the music thing, it actually pisses me off now that when I listen to the oldie station, they have 90s music.
Exactly. It really is true.
I'm not, and it's just me being selfish because I'm not ready for that to be old.
Honestly, it's, and then I think back to like what my parents were thinking when they heard oldies, and which would have been like the Big Bopper and all that. Well, anyway.
Yeah, 50s and 60s. Because I remember growing up listening to that in the car. My parents would listen to the oldies station, and it would be 50s and 60s music. And to me, I'm like, wow, that's super old. But at that time, the 60s was only 20 years ago.
Exactly. It's really, you remake Back to the Future today, it's what, the 90s? So 80s.
Yeah,
almost 90s.
No. It would be if they went back 30 years. Yeah. It would be. Well, it's funny. They would actually go back to 1988.
Oh, wow. Be a perfect time to do it. So you're right. The debate is, do we go by year? Do we go by generation? Consoles have generations. Which we're actually currently in what's considered the 8th generation of consoles. So it's it's a debate that will probably just keep going.
Yeah, there's no question about it, because I think between just the two of us, I mean, we tend to have a disagreement in regards to where we draw the line for retro games or for retro consoles.
We do, but it's close. It's borderline. It's not really that far off. Like, for example, let's do Sony. I correct me if I'm wrong. Do you consider the PS2 retro?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe it was Xbox then that we went around with.
I'm not sure, because I think we had discussed it for a while. To me, like, if we're in the 8th generation, and I think anything from the 6th generation and earlier is retro.
Okay. Which is understandable. And 6th generation would be the Dreamcast, the PS2, the GameCube, and the Xbox.
Right.
And, if you go by generation and not year, and if you want to look at it, the Dreamcast was released here in the U.S. in 1999. The Xbox and the GameCube were released in 2001 here. If you want to go back to Japan, it's even further gap. Dreamcast is 98, Xbox was 02. So, yeah, if you wanted to, there's even a debate whether it's going to be by generation or by year. So I think it's going to be an ongoing, but also I think we may have to start putting some new stuff in there. Because when the Vita was announced, stopped production. Now, the Vita, which, shocking, I didn't realize it was this recent. Vita only came out in like 2011, 2012.
Correct.
So clearly not retro. I don't blame it.
Definitely not retro, but then it makes you wonder, like, then the system before it, the PSP,
the predecessor, the original PlayStation Portable, that came out earlier than I thought. That came out in like 2004.
Yeah,
and now we're talking. Yeah, that may be at this point retro to us.
It might be. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When it comes to handhelds, you're more of the expert, because I never really played handheld systems because I just didn't like I didn't like how small the screen was. Now I'm getting used to it because the screens are getting a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. So and I can live with that. But yeah, so I have to defer to you on these. And by the way, in terms of handheld though, there are so many handheld systems.
It's been everyone.
It's insane.
I mean, you got your knockoffs. I'm not going to call them knockoffs. You got, some of them just hit the market and just sank like a rock. No pun and no jokes here. But then you have other ones that lasted the test of time. And I'm taking Nintendo out of that category because we don't know how that was. You got the Lynx, the Turbo Express. The Game Gear, of course. So, it depends on what it's all about. Because then you got, like, the N-Gage, which I'm sure people will go back and forth even asking if that's a system. Yeah. The taco phone, I like to call it.
The taco phone.
But with going back to the consoles, I think we should try and figure out, draw that line in the sand as to where it is, because to be fair, even if we throw the PSP into what could be a retro system coming out in 2004, that's borderlining the 7th generation, and those systems, let's just lay it out here, the 7th generation systems are the Xbox 360, the PS3, and the Wii, and they came out, Xbox 360 came out in 2005 all across the world. The Wii came out in 06 all across the world. PS3 was North America and Japan in 06, Europe a year later in 07.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to, at what point do those hit? Because I'm starting to feel, in my opinion, that at least the Xbox 360 should be going in. And if that's the case, I'm thinking year.
Yeah, see, and I lean more towards generation because I feel like the Xbox 360 to me is still current enough because it's still active. People still own it and people still play it, both gaming and online. Mm-hmm. They still make games for it. You can buy a 360 version of games. They haven't stopped production. So I think as long as the developers and the publishers and the manufacturers support it, then I still think it's a current system. I would not classify it as retro.
Okay.
Now, a PlayStation Portable, which by the way, you are correct. PlayStation, the PSP is 7th generation. However, yeah, it is. It's classified under 7th generation. But then there's another system that classifies under 7th generation that becomes instantly debatable in terms of is it retro or not? Because for me, like I would say, if it's 7th generation, it's not retro yet.
Okay.
It's like we have to get to the 9th generation before we start.
Gotcha.
Before I would consider that retro. But also sitting in the 7th generation is the Nintendo DS.
The original DS.
The original DS.
Okay.
And now, since the original DS has come out, we've had 2 other versions since then. We've had the 3DS and the 2DS.
Well, those I would consider the same. But you had the forgive me, I'm just going to correct you a little bit. You had the Nintendo
Please,
DS.
I'm a handheld dummy.
No, that's okay. You had the original Nintendo DS, which came out in 04. Came out in 04.
Correct.
Then they came out with then they just redesigned it, which that doesn't count as a change in generation. They just made it a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, because that first one was a little bit bulky. But then about 4 years later, in 2008, they came out with the DSi, which was like a slight tweak on the DS. So I don't know if you would consider that a different generation.
No, that would still be the same.
Okay. And because then they took out the original DS, you were able to play Game Boy Advance games on. The DSi took that away. When the 3DS and the 2DS, 3DS are basically the same thing. It's just the 2DS doesn't have the 3D capability, which is not recommended for kids under 6 anyway. So that's why they made the 2DS. So we'll just consider the 3DS moving forward. The 3DS would be the second version of the DS if you want to just lump them all together. So so basically then going back to that DS 7th generation? No, 6th generation you said?
DS is 7.
7th, okay.
And
3DS
is 8.
Okay. See, I would put that not the 3DS, not yet, but I would then the DS. Yeah, I can see where your debate is. I see what you're talking about because 7th generation.
It's kind of borderline because it came out in 04,
which was before
was the beginning of the 7th generation. So
that was before the 360, the 3, and the Wii.
Right, exactly. And it's right after. It's not that. It's about a year after the N-Gage, and a bunch of other handheld systems. Nobody
Some of
knows
those,
about.
honestly, I want to find a Dingo A320.
Oh my god, I would love to own that just for the name.
Or a Dingo.
It beats me.
Dingoo. Oh my god, I forgot about the PSP Go.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Again, that's a redesigned PSP. I wouldn't consider that. But still.
Actually, what we should get our hands on is the Game King, which was an 8-bit monochrome console designed to look like the Game Boy Advance, released only in Hong Kong.
Aren't you going there? You got to be going there at some point for work.
Strangely enough, I was supposed to be going there after Japan, but because of my vacation, I'm not going.
Oh.
Otherwise, I would have been going to Hong Kong.
You know what? Have you seen any of these weird systems in Super Potato, like the handhelds?
Yeah, they have a bunch of handhelds in the glass case. And to be honest with you, I don't do enough research before I go to Super Potato, so I don't look for it. Like I basically go look at games, pick up the ones that look familiar to me, and buy them, or I do research ahead of time.
Fair enough.
And download images of the ones I want, so I can show the shop person pictures, so we don't have to talk.
I still love that.
It's so much easier. It's like I just show it to them, and they look at it, and they're like, "Okay, yes or no,and
I agree.
Or they show me the prices, and then I say no, absolutely not. I haven't. I did not dive into the whole handheld stuff.
Okay.
But I do. I have seen like the what are the old Nintendo ones? The
Game and Watch.
Game and Watches.
Okay.
They have plenty of Game and Watches in their cases there, and they're all expensive. But I never looked into the actual other handheld systems because it's just not my thing.
It's not.
I'm always looking for consoles. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm actually debating now whether or not I should get the Japanese Sega Saturn so I can play my Shining Force 3.
Oh, how much have you seen the price?
No, I don't know yet. But it may be worth looking at. Anyway, but getting back to this, it's interesting, like, because then there's another question that comes up. Because we've also been dealing with considering consoles specifically as retro, as opposed to games that are retro. So hear me out on this.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, the DS is the perfect example, because the DS came out in 2004, and they only stopped making games for the DS in 2016. Right?
I see what you're talking about.
So games for the DS that were made in 2010, 2011, whatever, yeah, that's current generation. Would you consider DS games from 2004 and 2005 retro?
So, in other words, is retro really the term for the system or for the games? Because we keep buying the games, but we're buying the games because of the system.
Right, and I think it opens up a whole other way of looking at it, because especially when you're talking about systems that last longer periods of time. Now, granted, a lot of consoles only last for a handful of years. They don't usually last that long. Handheld systems have lasted, like I said, like in the DS, that was a 12-year run. The PSP was a 10-year run. So if I bought a 2004 game for the PSP, I would consider that retro compared to one I bought in 2014, even though the system may be considered a current generation system.
No, you're right, because also the gap between generations is getting smaller and smaller. There's only like a 4-year difference between the Xbox and the Xbox 360. So
right, but handhelds have been holding on longer. I mean, the 3DS now is 7 years in. Mm-hmm.
Now, to your point with the what's retro, the system or the console, that would lead to like
the system or the game.
Yeah, that's what I meant. System or the game. Like the 2 Pac-Man games I bought for Atari. Those are brand new games.
Yeah,
but
they're for the Atari.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, I mean,
so I think it's more of a debate. There really
absolutely.
is more, or it's more. It's not even that it's a debate. There's more gray area to it than I think. Just is it a year or is it a generation? It's like I think the answer is always going to be it depends. Because I think it's very easy to say like a console would be considered retro because then you're lumping it all together. But when we start crossing those lines with years, it becomes a combination of the two.
Agreed. Now, here's the other thing to consider, because, as usual, Nintendo throws a wrench into this whole thing. When we get to 8th generation, Nintendo, and I'm talking home consoles, not handhelds, Nintendo has 2 systems that are considered in the 8th generation.
Correct.
The Wii U and the Switch, which now that completely almost changes then what the hell is considered a generation.
Well, it doesn't necessarily, because the issue with the Wii U was that it failed.
It failed, but it was 5 years later.
Right, but they decided to cut ties with it earlier than expected because it failed. It would have lasted the generation. I honestly think it would have lasted the generation, the life cycle of the generation, had it been more successful, but it wasn't.
Is it? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And as I was saying, as a result of that, they retired it. And basically, the Switch is almost like the Wii and the Wii U put together.
I
If you, it's kind of sorta.
I can see what you're talking about. I mean, to me, the Wii U is just a hyped up Wii. In fact, I mean, I get the Wii U being another generation, but really, to me, the Wii U is just a better Wii, where the Switch is completely different. But my curiosity is, because now Sony has already started mentioning, not talking, I doubt we'll see anything this E3, but there's already rumblings about the PS5. Maybe when like the PS5 comes out, which I would imagine would be probably next year. Because we got the PS4 in 13, so 2019, that would make sense. And then whatever the next Xbox One, because the Xbox One X is not a new generation. It's just it's an Xbox One just jazzed up. I'm wondering then, when the new Xbox and new PlayStation comes out, would the Switch be considered moved over to the 9th generation to kind of join those? I just wonder because of the year. Look at the year. The Wii U came out in 12. PS4 and Xbox One came out in 2013, and the Switch just came out last year.
Yeah, I mean, you may be right. It's possible that they will lump that into the 9th generation. But they would have, I think by now they would have officially announced it as a 9th generation system.
But maybe they just, now let's face facts. We're going to pull the curtain back. We're getting a lot of this information from Wikipedia. So it's probably Wikipedia that's putting all this together as far as what's considered a generation. But it's
but they have them lumped together the right way.
Oh, they do.
Look at the list.
Absolutely. It's basically just when that new. It's almost like whenever it's a new graphical update. Excuse me. Pretty much. The Jaguar. What the hell is an FM Towns of Marty?
I don't know, but I'm curious about this Mattel Hyperscan that was supposed to come out in the 7th generation.
Oh, I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, I don't know, but anyway.
Yo, this Marty thing looks pretty cool.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I think ultimately it's going to be it's basically up to the person to decide what they consider retro or not. Like, I know where I kind of stand on it, and I think anything before the 7th generation is considered retro, with the caveat of this handheld phenomenon that goes on. So like DS to me is 7th generation, so it's not retro yet, but I still think some of the first games for it can be considered retro.
Okay. And honestly, on my end, and I'm not just saying this, as a goofy bit for the show, I feel it would go by year. And I feel at this point, if it's like, I go anywhere, and this is for myself to try and narrow it down, anywhere between 10 and 15 years. 10 is 2008. What's 15 years ago?
2003.
3. So like somewhere around 10 to 15 years old, is and I got to narrow it down, but I feel like it would go by year. And that's,
and that's fair.
Left Twix or right Twix, everyone's got to say.
I know. And yours is wrong.
I always go left Twix. So let us know what you think is considered retro. Is it the generation? Is it the year? If so, which generation, which year, or maybe block of years? Let us know. Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast. We want to hear from you, the people. What is considered?
Yeah. What do you think?
Honestly,
what do you think, and what do you prefer, left Twix or right Twix? All right, Larry, it's time for a very special retro birthday.
Ooh, all right.
This week. And it's a doozy. Because we are celebrating the 38th birthday.
Oh, jeez.
38th birthday.
My birthday already passed. Thank you, though.
Of the one and the only.
My birthday
you.
passed. Oh.
Yeah, yes, we know your birthday passed. And the only thing we ever give a virtual boy is a funeral. So a very happy retro birthday to the one and only Pac-Man.
Really?
Yeah. 38 years ago this week, Pac-Man was released in the arcade in Japan.
Okay.
And the rest is pellet gobbling history.
It really is. That's awesome.
No, it really is. I mean, think about that. I mean, think about how many versions of Pac-Man we've seen over the last 38 years.
Definitely. I mean,
it's just absolutely crazy.
It's no Ms. Pac-Man, but no, Pac-Man, that's all. Now, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it. I mean,
no.
Pac-Man has like invaded our pop culture, ever since it came into being. I mean, people constantly fight over, high scores and Guinness Book of World Record runs and all kinds of stuff with this game. And the actual character of Pac-Man has been in magazines, in cartoons, in the actual, in CGI in a terrible movie. So
it was okay.
Yeah, so kudos to Pac-Man for standing the test of time. A happy 38th birthday. And that is this week's Retro Birthday.
Right. Oof. We are winding this one down. Another good episode in the books.
Hooray.
Boy, it's just nothing like feeling old.
I know. It's funny. It's like as every episode goes on, and the more we talk about games from our youth, I just feel that much older.
At what point, what system has to become retro where we go, we've been doing this podcast way too long?
Probably one that hasn't been invented yet.
I'll take it.
The PlayStation 7?
Oh, can you imagine? I never even thought of the PS4 coming out. Like when the PS1 and 2, I'm like, that just seems like eons away.
I know. And by the time the PlayStation 7 comes out, we'll be at the Xbox -3.
All holograms.
Because they don't know how to count.
There's a reason for it, I'm sure. Who knows?
I don't know. From Xbox to Xbox 360 to Xbox One, I don't know. I really don't know what they're thinking.
Xbox Pi. That'll be the next one. That'd be cool.
I know. I don't know. I mean, at least Nintendo kind of had it right. They really didn't put numbers in any of them except for the 64.
Yeah, so, and that's just lazy.
No, that was just lazy. They didn't know what to do. What are we going to do with this one? Call it 64. Why? It had 64 bits.
And that's such a cool game. Well, it was the Ultra 64.
Well, they were competing against the PlayStation and all the other 32-bit systems. So it was just very clear as day. It's like, well, we're 64 bits and they're only 32.
Ha-ha!
Aha! We are better.
Huzzah. Alrighty.
So yeah, but on that note, when this episode drops, I will actually be on a plane.
Oh, really? You're leaving on a jet plane.
I'm leaving on a jet plane, and with any luck, I won't be back again.
Aw, you have to come back. Just in case I give you a list.
I need to come back for episode 100.
Yes, that is true. All right, cool. Well, we, let's call it. You can, and we do this every week.
Call it?
Call it episode 92. You tell me what to call it.
Done and done.
So, find us everywhere. Just wherever you listen to podcasts, just do a search for the Retro Gamers. Easy as pie. But give us that 5-star rating. We really, really would love a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Because we get that rating, more people will be able to see us, discover us. Know. So do it.
And don't forget to check us out most importantly on Facebook and like our Facebook page. Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast, because that is where we post all the retro news that we find. We share streams. We live stream our own gaming. And you can see just how awesome or not awesome we are at certain games. And it's always fun to ridicule. So yeah, definitely check us out there as well.
Also the Instagram page at @_RetroGamers. Whenever me and Ant see something cool, something fun, something we bought, con that we've been to, we post it there on the Instagram page. So check it out. And we're working on stuff. Don't worry. We'll get that dedicated YouTube page going. Maybe we'll see what we can do with Twitch. Who knows? I'm just throwing ideas out now, so we'll see what happens.
Yes, we're planning a lot of things. We just are trying to find the time to do it.
And of course, the website, theretrogamers.com.
Yes, the what he said. All
right, Ant, go. I know you got packing to do. But of course, this airs, you're already in the air, so hopefully you've already done all your packing.
Yeah, at the point when this episode drops, I'll be sitting on the plane saying, "Oh crap, I forgot this. Oh crap, I forgot that. I'm screwed."
I forgot my luggage.
Yes,
especially
my
3 weeks worth of luggage. 3 weeks,
yeah. 3 weeks.
Oh man, why don't you just do laundry?
I could if I find a laundromat, but then it also involves me trying to figure out how to use a laundry in Japan in Japanese. So, and to be honest with you, I'm a little worried.
That's true.
Because as much as I'd like to think that it works the same way there, I've learned that nothing works the same way there. So, I'd rather play it safe.
Awesome. All right, cool. And safe travels. Honestly, you're going to be gone for a while, but enjoy Italy. In all honesty,
don't burn down the show.
How could I? With the lineup that I have coming up, how could I?
Well, I'm worried.
So be on the lookout for the next 3 episodes. It's going to be quite interesting. But again, enjoy, have fun, be safe. All right, and with that, folks, I will catch you here next week.
Oh, wait.
What?
Before we go, I need to get this out.
Okay.
Really fast. Hashtag VB sucks, hashtag VB sucks, hashtag VB sucks, hashtag VB sucks. That takes care of this week and the 3 weeks that I won't be here.
I'll catch you right here next week on the Retro Gamer.